Each year, railroads and TRANSCAER work with government and industry partners to train tens of thousands of emergency responders to respond safely and quickly to hazardous material rail incidents.
Greetings from Washington, D.C. I'm Andy Elkins, Director, Hazmat Compliance for the Association of American Railroads. In 2014, the AAR and our members created a program called AskRail. AskRail was developed so we could effectively transmit critical information to first responders that might be called to the scene of a railroad-related hazmat incident. To supplement those training efforts, the North American Class I railroads worked with the emergency response community to develop the free AskRail app. The app provides emergency responders across the United States, Canada, and Mexico with immediate access to accurate and timely data on the types of hazardous material a rail car is carrying, so they can make an informed decision on how to respond to the incident. Not only is AskRail meant for responding to a real-life emergency, it can also be used in everyday training, so a responder is prepped and ready should they need to use the app.
This video gives step-by-step instructions for how to download the app, an overview of the app features, and testimonials from first responders who've used the app during an incident. Downloading and setting up the AskRail app is easy. 1. Download the app from the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, or the Microsoft Windows desktop application. 2. Complete the registration process in the app on your device. If you are a first responder, we strongly recommend using a government or firehouse email address. Tap the Verify My Email button to confirm your email has been properly entered. 3. You'll receive a confirmation email with a verification link. Click on this link and return to the app to complete your registration. 4. Complete the user profile. Note that some fields are required. Select the primary Class I sponsoring railroad that serves your area. Provide a device name, digitally sign the form, and submit for approval. 5. Once you tap the Submit button, your application will be sent to the railroad for approval. Once approved, the app will be ready to use.
If a first responder can't access the app, they can still get AskRail data by contacting their Emergency Communications Center. If you are an Emergency Communications Center and would like a web app version, call 1-877-724-5462 or email support@askrail.us. Access to AskRail is also available by calling Chemtrek, the leading source of 24/7 call center support and information during a hazardous material incident for emergency responders for more than 50 years. Their team of trained, experienced emergency support specialists have access to AskRail and can provide this critical information to emergency responders.
The AskRail app is extremely easy to use. It's designed for use during critical situations during a hazmat incident. While menu layouts may be slightly different between the different platform versions, functionality is the same between all devices. When a responder first arrives on the scene, all they have to do is launch the app and enter the equipment ID of the rail car in question. This will immediately bring up specific information related to that car. Using the training test car number in the AskRail app, we see that the car number RAIX1102 is a tank car with a UN placard number of 1267, which means it's carrying petroleum crude oil, and that it contains 203,510 pounds of this product in this tank car. Tapping the UN number, then View ERG Guide, displays PHMSA's emergency response guidebook data related to this product, including information about characteristics of the product, first aid, and response considerations. Tap Done to get back to the main screen. This tank car is only one car in this train, but what about all the rest of the cars? It's critical for responders to understand the makeup of the entire train and if the potential exists for non-compatible products to be near each other, which could influence response tactics. Tapping View Train will display the entire consist of this train. The railroads refer to the consist as everything in that train, or what does the train consist of, from the engine to the final car, in what order, and if those cars are loaded, empty, or residue. In this case, we can see that the consist is comprised of 2 locomotives and 14 cars, in order from the front of the train to the rear. Tap on a locomotive and specifics about that locomotive are displayed. This locomotive is a DC traction motor type of engine and a fuel tank capacity of 5,100 gallons, information that could prove important during a response. We can also view details on every car that's assigned to that train. For example, tapping the arrow to the left of the sequence number, we see that the second car in this train is our example car, loaded with petroleum crude oil. Tap on the arrow next to any other car in the train, and you can view details about that car, whether they're hazmat or non-hazmat cars, loaded or residue, and the type of car it is. Notice that hazmat cars are clearly delineated as bright red across various views. One of the tasks that first responders need to do is to identify the initial isolation zone should that product have escaped from its container. For this illustration, we'll use the 9th car in the train, the sulfur molten car with the UN 2448 placard. Identifying the initial isolation zone is very easy to do by tapping the UN number or placard, then tap on ERG Isolation Zone Map. The Isolation Zone Options screen will ask you 4 simple questions: the size of the spill, whether it's daytime or nighttime, if the material is on fire, and what unit of measure you prefer. For the purpose of this demo, we'll indicate this is a large spill. It's daytime, the incident is involving fire, and we're going to use imperial numbers. Once those 4 pieces of information are entered, tap on Calculate Isolation Zone. AskRail will immediately indicate that for this particular product, an isolation zone of about a half a mile needs to be established. Tapping the green Go button will display a visual representation of where you need to isolate and what your isolation zone is going to be. By zooming in, you can pinpoint down to specific streets. Anything inside of this red highlighted area is considered inside that half-mile zone. You can also reposition that isolation zone and drop it on a specific location. For example, the incident is actually half a mile away. By simply touching the screen to the location where the incident actually occurred, you move the isolation zone, and we can effectively zoom in and set up the necessary parameters. Tapping Done takes you back to the home screen. You can also access the emergency contact numbers for the major Class 1 railroads inside the AskRail app by tapping Railroad Contact Info at the bottom. The app also contains most of the short-line railroads because a response may not always involve only a Class 1 railroad. Tapping the hazardous materials icon at the bottom will display other information, such as the list of the top 125 hazmat products carried most by the railroads. This is beneficial for training purposes because all you have to do is tap on a specific chemical to view the emergency response guide page or view the ERG isolation zone map. In the top right corner is an information button. Tapping it will bring up the About file. That About file has additional information, such as how to download the field guide to tank cars. The field guide is published by the AAR Bureau of Explosives and contains critical technical information on every type of tank car that's currently moving on the United States or North American rails. It's one of the most important pieces of information an emergency responder can possess, and it's easily accessed and downloaded directly from the AskRail app. For an Apple user, tap on the bottom right corner placard reference button, and it'll display a referencing page for placarding information. While accessing this page, tap on one of the placard classes, and the app will display its corresponding ERG page. The AskRail app is user-friendly and designed for field use during critical situations. The information that's accessible with this application will assist you during the first operational period when your plan for emergency response is being developed. We encourage you to explore all areas of this valuable app, become familiar with its operation and information navigation, so you already know where to find the critical tools that will help inform your emergency response during that first golden hour of an incident. Email support@askrail.us with any questions about downloading or using AskRail.
As first responders, we have a variety of tools and resources available to us during an emergency. The AskRail app is another tool that helps us identify potential hazards during a railcar incident.
The free AskRail app is a safety tool that provides contact information for all first responders on all available Class 1 railroads, Amtrak, and available short lines.
Railroads and first responders share a commitment to the safety of the communities that they serve. The AskRail app is used by all North American Class 1 railroads, Amtrak, and available short lines. Utilizing the AskRail app adds a level of efficiency to emergency response.
At Chemtrek, we use the AskRail app to assist first responders on incidents where the railroad is unknown, and also to notify railroads of incidents.
By using the training function of the app, responders can become more familiar with AskRail prior to responding to an incident. To access the training function, simply insert the railcar number RAIX1102 as pictured in the front screen of the app. This will give responders access to all of AskRail's resources.
With the AskRail app, the effectiveness to gather information for someone that's not really trained on rail operations, it's really easy to use and navigate. So for someone that may not know a whole lot about hazardous material, they're able to look it up and at least relay that information through a communication center, which can go to the folks that do know what that is and who do work with that every day.
On behalf of the Association of American Railroads, our members, and our partnership with TRANSCAER, I'd like to thank you for taking your time to review this critically important information.
A special thank you to the following organizations for helping TRANSCAER make this video possible: